The lucky one said, solo.
Mimi said, son.
Mimi said, nose.
Mimi said, once.
Mimi said, one.
Hello said, son.
Mimi said, soon. Hello said, lose.
The lucky one said, loosen.
Mimi said, lose.
Hello said, S-O-N.
Hello. Meron ng word na soon.
Mirabel Cristobal said, Lusa. Hello said, loan.
Maribel Cristobal said, loosen.
Maribel Cristobal said, loosen.
Maribel Cristobal said, lose.
Mimi said, loose.
Mimi said, soul.
Hello said, lose.
Mimi said, lens. Angela said, lens.
Marable Cristobal said, loss.
Angela said, relay.
Mimi said, relay.
Hella said, early.
Angela said, rally.
Mimi said, early.
Marable Cristobal said, yearly.
Mimi said, R.
Mimi said, here. Mimi said, lay.
Angela said, rail. Mimi said, yearly.
The lucky one said, era.
Angela said, layer.
Mimi said, ray.
Maribel Cristobal said, rely.
Mimi said, oh.
Maribel Cristobal said, rely.
Angela said, oh.
Mimi said, eerie.
Angela said, rely.
Maribel Cristobal said, year.
The lucky one said, lear.
Hello said, year. Maribel Cristobal said, year.
Maribel Cristobal said, eerie.
Mimi said, lair.
The lucky one said, remedy.
Maribel Cristobal said, remedy.
A Dryambiando said, remedy.
Mimi said, remedy.
Hello said, yeah.
Mimi said, red.
Mimi said, Mary.
Mimi said, mere.
Angela said, dear.
Adriambiando said, dumb.
Maribel Cristobal said, dear.
Mimi said, Durham.
The lucky one said, rye.
Maribel Cristobal said, ream. Mimi said, ream.
Angela said, dry. Marianne said, read. Mimi said, dry. Adrian Biondo Buff said, Med.
The lucky one said, die. The lucky one said, I. Mimi said, I. Adrian Biondo Buff said, theme.
Mimi said, Demi.
Mimi said, dairy.
The lucky one said, voter.
The lucky one said, vote. Marianne said, voter.
Adrian Biondo Buff said, voter.
Mimi said, voter. Mimi said, tour. Mimi said, toe.
Adrian Biondo Buff said, road. Mimi said, rot.
Marianne said, over.
Adrian Biondo Buff said, road.
Mimi said, over. Marianne said, tour.
Marianne said, veto.
Adrian Biondo Buff said, or.
Mimi said, veto. Adrian Biondo Buff said, veto. Adrian Biondo Buff said, marquee.
Marianne said, marquee. Marianne said, Ames.
Marianne said, heirs. Adrian Biondo Buff said, rims. Marianne said, arms. Marianne said, Mars. Mimi said, Mars.
Adrian Biondo Buff said, ram.
Adrian Biondo Buff said, arms.
Jan said, aim. Marianne said, air. Mimi said, air.
Marianne said, aim.
Marianne said, some.
Jan said, some.
Marianne said, rim.
Adrian Biondo Buff said, arm.
Jan said, arm.
Mimi said, arm. Gomdacia said, arm.
Mimi said, sir.
Mimi said, sir.
Jan said, rim.
Jan said, sir. Marianne said, rye. Gomdacia said, rim.
Okay, Yuri. Check na natin kung
Marianne said, Ross.
yung rim na ba yan ay correct. Nope, hindi siya yung final word. Ras, okay, wala. Sure na ba yung ras na yan?
Mimi said Rui.
Ria.
Marion said Ria.
Mimi said
Ano yung naisip
Ria.
yung 3-letter word na nagsistart with letter R? R. So, it's either
Mimi said rock.
nope, hindi siya. Ano siya? May kinalaman sa alak.
Jan said Alec.
Ayun, si Jan. Mga alam niya na ibig sabihin yan. So, the answer is yung alak, which is rum. Yan, alright. Okay, next level tayo. Ayan, letter F. Kapag bumibigay ka kay crush. Letter F simula. Ang pinakamapagay. Yun.
Gaudacious said
Sino
falling.
to? Si Gaudacious.
Mimi said
Yeah,
playing.
falling.
Adrian Biondo Buff said failing.
Marion said falling.
Jan said falling.
Marion said in fall.
Jan said fall.
Jan said fling.
Mimi said fall.
Gaudacious said fall.
Mimi,
Jan
mga
said
ano lang,
gain.
mga common word lang.
Mimi said fill.
Jan
A,
said
bigyan ko kayo ng
fail.
clue. A, ang simula.
Marion
Ayan,
said final.
ayan, si Marian.
Mimi said plan.
Align.
Mimi said nag.
Ito, pako.
Mimi said gain.
Ano yung English ng pako?
Marion said align.
Pako, pako.
Mimi said fang.
Gaudacious said align.
Ano English ng pako? Starts with letter N.
Mimi said lag.
Yan, Marian. Nail.
Marion said
Fan.
nail.
Gaudacious said fan.
Mimi said fan. Jan said fan.
All. Ay, wala pa. Fin. Il.
Gaudacious said nail. Mimi said all.
Jan said fin.
Mimi said ill.
Jan said ill. Jan said nail.
Marion said ill.
Flag.
Jan said flag.
Yep. Okay, last word.
Marion said
And
flag.
ang huli. Fan.
Mimi said
Anong
Lynn.
meron na tayong fan? Meron ng...
Dan said fan.
Mimi said
Mimi,
land.
Gan, sure ka dyan, Gan.
Mimi said
Si
gun.
Aiden, tingnan natin.
Den said fin.
Marion said
Ayan,
fin.
si Jan, mukhang alam niya na.
Jan said
Jan, ano nga yung
Alec.
sagot? Ano nga yung nahalo
Mimi
nga
said
dyan
fin.
sa alak na yan? Ano nga yun eh, sinisindihan. Ito ang last word. Yan, tandaan nyo na gin, rum, mga beer. Yan. Sama yan dito. Itong words, ano ito eh, wordscape. Mahilig sa alak. Yan o, napakadaling word. Starts with letter C. Letter C. Car.
Gaudacious said car.
Crayon.
Marion
Marianne.
said crayon.
Yes. Correct. Corn.
Gomdacious said, corn.
Yung Filipino
Gomdacious said,
na ano. Yan. How do you say yan in
Mimi said,
Filipino?
ark.
Ano yan?
Marion said, acorn.
Ano yan?
Mimi said, ray.
Gomdacious said, a Jan
Yarn.
ran.
Ano yarn?
Mimi said, yarn.
Linlin 0311 said, yarn.
Ano yarn?
Gomdacious said, ran. Marion said, ark. Gomdacious said, con.
Marion said, any.
Uy, nag-follow.
Gomdacious said,
Thank you
ray.
for the follow. Si
Mimi
nag-follow?
said, ray.
Si Lin.
Marion
Never
said,
follow Lin.
nay.
Lin, 0311.
Mimi
Thank
said,
you.
can.
Linlin 0311 said, can.
Starts with... Na to?
Mimi said, nay.
Roy, no.
Mimi
Tingin ko
said,
nag-start sa
Roy.
letter... Yun, nakuha na. Si Gomadacious.
Gomdacious said, cry.
Gomadacious. Let's cry.
Linlin 0311 said, ray. Marion said, cry.
Ano kaya to?
Kel 712 said, koi.
Ah, okay. Starts with letter P.
Linlin 0311
Ito yung
said,
alam, mga
cry.
parcel.
Mimi said, cry.
Yep, email packages.
Mimi said, package.
Gomdacious said, package.
Mimi said, page. Linlin 0311 said, P. Marion said, package.
Gomdacious said, peak. Mimi said, cape.
Linlin 0311 said,
Meron tayong
cage.
pack.
Marion said, cage.
Gomdacious said, pace.
Mimi said, cap.
Cape. Meron na.
Mimi
Kate
said,
meron na rin.
age.
Yup.
Mimi said, ace.
Peck. Meron na.
Marion said, peck.
Linlin 0311 said, cape.
Meron na gap. Gape.
Gomdacious said, cape.
Marian, bawasan mo ng isang letra yung gape mo.
Linlin 0311 said, gap.
Yun yung word. Di ba
Mimi
gape?
said,
Yan.
peck.
Gape. Tanggal mo isang
Mimi
letter.
said, gap. Marion said, gape.
Tanggalan nyo ng isang letter
Linlin
yung gape.
0311 said, cape.
Tingin ko finifilter ni TikTok.
Shell 712 said, gape.
i-misspell nyo. Okay.
Marion said, pace.
Yan, last word. Starts with letter A.
Linlin 0311 said,
Starts with letter
pace. Mimi said, cage.
Claire said, AP3.
A. Yep, Claire 8 ang correct answer. Saan kaya to? Medyo mahirap to.
Mimi said, live.
Ayun.
Marion said,
Tama na sa isip
elusive.
ko. Mary Ann, elusive.
Mimi said, live.
Correct.
Mimi said, lives. Linlin 0311 said, live.
Claire said, slew. Claire said, 3 bills.
Claire said, 3 bill.
Mimi said, sue.
Linlin 0311 said, use.
Mimi said vice.
Claire said veal.
Marianne said fail.
Marianne said vile.
Lino 311 said use.
Mimi said lie.
Gandisha said else.
Claire said else. Linlin 0311 said Eve.
Okay, last word. Letter S. Ang huli.
Marianne said
Else?
aisle.
Nope.
Linlin 0311 said Eve.
Eels. Pwede. Check nga natin kung eels.
Ash02 said Eve.
Nope.
Mimi said I.
Vice.
Gandisha said Eve.
Linlin 0311 said else.
Parang hindi.
Claire said eels. Ash02 said vise.
Marianne said eaves.
Eves. Check nga natin. Meron kung Eves nga ba? Nope. Uses.
Maravik said uses.
So, isa lang letter S natin, Marvick. So, di siya fit. Isa lang.
Marianne said lace.
Then, lace.
Ash02 said Vias.
Ano to? Bigyan ko kayo ng clue. Starts with letter L.
Claire said Lee. S.
Sinungalingan. Ayun, si Claire.
Marianne said V's.
Ang nakuha niya na.
Claire said eels. Steve Marshall said lies.
Paano pakadali? W. Starts with letter W.
Steve Marshall said wheat. Claire said what?
Marianne said wheat. Linlin 0311 said wheat.
Maravik said what?
Gavesha said what? Linlin 0311 said eat. Claire said pat.
Linlin 0311 said what?
Linlin 0311 said eat.
Linlin 0311 said hat.
Claire said 8.
Claire said the. Mimi said ah. Marvick said T.
Basa.
Marianne said they.
Starts with letter W. Basa.
Gale Hyphenation Point said weth.
Claire said hat 3.
Gale hyphenation point said what? Marianne said wah. Marianne said why. The lucky one said W and S.
Aaron Simply Me said filter din po pala yun.
Lee Chen House said tiger.
Claire said trigger. Marvick said tiger.
Lee Chen House said tiger.
Yogapila said, trigger. Linlin0311 said, trigger.
Aaron Simply Me said, grit.
Aaron Simply Me said, get.
Lee Chen Hao said, get.
Lilino311 said, get.
Aaron Simply Me said, tire.
A said, tie.
Marion said, right. Lee Chen Hao said, get.
Lilino311 said, egg.
Yogapila said, get.
Last word is right.
Marion said, gig.
Aaron Simply Me said, git.
Hi.
Aaron Simply Me said, tie.
Thank you for the follow.
Marion said, rig.
Salamat po.
Yogapila said, egg. Linlin0311 said, rig.
Aaron Simply Me said, elegant.
Marion said, elegant.
Yogapila said, tangle.
Aaron Simply Me said, gentle.
Gentle.
Marion said, agent.
Marion said, angle.
Marion said, Eden.
Marion said, eagle.
Lee Chen Hao.
Yogapila said, late.
Lee Chen Hao said, team.
Aaron Simply Me said, angel. Marion said, GATW.
Aaron Simply Me said, eagle.
Yogapila said, late.
Aaron Simply Me said, angle.
Marion said, lean.
Aaron Simply Me said, lean.
Lee Chen Hao said,
The
gale.
last word starts with the letter N.
Aaron Simply Me said, tail.
Aaron Simply Me said, teen.
Yogapila said, lane.
Ay, ito.
Marion said, jean.
Aaron Simply Me said, neat.
Botox. Nope.
Marion said,
Chen
neat.
Hao, hindi.
Lee Chen Hao said, Botox.
Toolbox.
Marion said, toolbox. Lee Chen Hao said, bolt.
Aaron Simply Me thanks for the rose.
Aaron Simply Me said, toolbox.
Aaron Simply Me said, block.
Marion said, boot.
Aaron Simply Me said, boot. Marion said, block.
Siya pag-send ng rose. Thank you.
Aaron Simply Me said, loot.
Salamat.
Marion said, loot.
Lee Chen Hao said, toll. Marion said, tool. Lee Chen Hao said, boot.
Aaron Simply Me said, butt.
At dahil nag-send ka ng
Aaron Simply Me said, lot.
Yogapila said, lot.
Lee Chen Hao said, tool. Aaron Simply Me said, box.
Aaron Simply Me said, tea.
Lee Chen Hao said, lot.
Yogapila said, lot.
Aaron Simply Me said, lob.
Lee Chen Hao said, model.
Aaron Simply Me said, model.
Yogapila said, dome.
Aaron Simply Me said, mode.
Aaron Simply Me said mold.
Yogapila said dome.
Aaron Simply Me said meld.
Mold, meron na.
Aaron Simply Me said dome.
Marianne said demo.
Mold, meron na.
Aaron Simply Me said demo.
Okay, last word. Mold, meron na.
Marianne said mold.
Aaron Simply Me said mold.
Aaron Simply Me said med.
Marianne said mold.
Aaron, tingnan natin Mary Ann.
Aaron Simply Me said do then eat. Marianne said full. Aaron Simply Me said LED.
Ito kaya, ano kaya to?
Marianne said lead.
Start with letter C.
Yogapila said
Napakadali,
lead.
start with letter C.
Yogapila said lead.
Marianne said L. Yogapila said scope.
Aaron Simply Me said compose.
Chen How? No?
Lee Chen Hao said scope.
Yogapila said scope.
Marianne said compose.
Aaron Simply Me said pose. Cheska Casita said sum.
Meron na.
Aaron Simply Me said poems.
Aaron Simply Me said come.
Starts with letter C.
Marianne said comes.
Comes, no.
Marianne said scoop.
Comes.
Aaron Simply Me said scope. Marianne said scope. Aaron Simply Me said co-op.
Meron na.
Aaron Simply Me said whose.
Aaron Simply Me said cops. Aaron Simply Me said cop. Lee Chen Hao said who.
Phrases pa tong mga words.
Aaron Simply Me said SCO then P.
Marianne said EPOS.
Okay, last word.
Lee Chen Hao said
No.
ESCOM.
Jessica Casita said mop. Marianne said moose.
Spom? Sure. Spom?
Yogapila said mop.
Aaron Simply Me said ma. Lee Chen Hao said spam.
Marianne said EPOS.
Veal said spec.
VL. Tiyan natin kung spec nga ba yung huling word.
Marianne
Yeah.
said spec.
Aaron Simply said oboes.
Spec. Ano ba yung spec sa Tagalog? Spec ano yun eh? Yung parang... maliit
Aaron
na
Simply Me
alikabok.
said, yeah, I think that
Isang
is.
piraso ng alikabok yata spec tawag.
Ivan said turtle.
Lee Chen Hao said turlet.
Aaron Simply Me said turtle. People said turtle.
Marianne said turtle. Aaron Simply Me said true.
Sharon Bowman said turtle.
Okay.
Lee Chen Hao
last-
said turtle.
Starts with letter R.
Marianne said rule.
Yogapila said rule.
Aaron Simply Me said loot. Lee Chen Hao said rule.
Ivan said rule.
Ito, napakadali. Starts with
Marianne said let.
S.
Marianne said rue.
Starts with letter S.
Yogapila said rue. Lee Chen Hao said fish.
Aaron Simply Me said shift.
Ivan said shift.
Beal said, shift. Lee Chen Hao said, sift. Aaron Simply Me said, sift.
Mary On said, shift.
Meron this. Fist meron na.
Aaron Simply Me said, fits.
Yes.
Ivan said, hits. Mary On said, fits.
Galing, galing.
Aaron Simply Me said, hits.
Yogapila said, this. Lee Chen Hao said, fist.
Lee Chen Hao said, hits.
Ano kaya to?
Lee Chen Hao said, sit.
Hope hindi siya business. Lee Chen
Lee
Hao.
Chen Hao said business.
Bunnies, Mary Ann.
Sharon Bowman said, business.
Mary Ann. Bunnies nga.
Mary On said,
Yes, galing
bunnies.
ni Mary Ann.
Ivan said,
isang
business.
Isang S.
Ivan said, bunnies.
Aaron Simply Me said, bun. Aaron Simply Me said, bun.
Aaron Simply Me said nines.
Mary On said, 9.
Yogapila said, sign.
Aaron Simply Me said, 9.
Mary On said bun.
Aaron Simply Me said, bins.
Yogapila said, 9.
Lee Chen Hao said, sin.
Aaron Simply Me said bus.
Ivan said, use.
Meron na tayong
Aaron Simply Me said, in.
San, meron na rin.
Veal said, in.
Bin.
Yogapila said, in.
Lee Chen Hao said, use.
Yogapila said in.
Password.
Aaron Simply Me said
Ano,
sun.
napakadali. Single.
Sharon Bowman said, bin.
Pag wala pang jowa.
Lee Chen Hao
Single.
said bin. Aaron Simply Me said bun bin.
Aaron Simply Me said, logins.
Veal said, login.
Yogapila said, wrong.
Aaron Simply Me said login.
Beal said, lingo.
Yogapila said, long.
Beal said sling.
Aaron Simply Me said, soil.
Aaron Simply Me said sing.
Meron na si...
Aaron Simply Me said, sign.
Aaron Simply Me said, loin. Aaron Simply Me said, long.
Aaron Simply Me said, song. Booger Bandico said, sing.
Meron na. Sa... Okay.
Aaron Simply Me said, login.
Meron na
Lee Chen Hao said, oils.
Lions, meron.
Aaron Simply Me said,
Sing,
logs.
meron na. Okay.
Booger Bandico said, sing.
Hula yan ako na yan.
Yogapila said, lungs.
Beal said sun.
Ito yung nawawala.
Aaron Simply Me said lion.
Booger Bandico
Sing.
said,
Nawalan
sing.
pala. Nawawala tuloy.
Booger
Nawalan.
Bandico said, sing.
Nawalan.
Yogapila said, ion.
Lee Chen Hao said ion.
Veal said, losing.
Siyempre, pag nawalan ka, iiyak ka.
Lee Chen Hao said, direct.
Veal said, cried.
Up, hindi siya direct. Nice.
Sharon Bowman said, dice.
Okay.
Lee Chen Hao said, Derek.
Sharon.
Yogapila said, ride.
Apple blank.
Aaron Simply Me said, cried.
Yogapila said ride.
Sharon Bowman said rice.
Apple cider.
Beal said rice.
Lee Chen Hao said iced tea.
Aaron Simply Me said ices. Lee Chen Hao said rice.
Aaron Simply Me said ice. Yoga Pila said iced. Aaron Simply Me said red.
Yoga Pila said ice.
When your life depleted, ano tawag?
Yoga Pila said
What they
red.
call when your life has been
Lee
depleted
Chen Hao said
or
ice.
obsolete.
Yoga
Obsolete
Pila
talaga.
said rid.
Starts with letter G.
Aaron Simply Me said ire. Yoga Pila said ice. Aaron Simply Me said ice. Aaron Simply Me said DDIE. Prince said
Actually, di naman siya, no? Uy, pinag-follow. Prince, are we gone? Thank you for the follow. Alright. Meron na pala akong 3 followers right now.
Lee Chen Hao said run.
Yoga Pila said inquiry.
Aaron Simply Me said inquiry. Aaron Simply Me said query.
Aaron Simply Me said room.
Aaron Simply Me said ire.
Aaron Simply Me said ruin.
Lee Chen Hao said Rian.
Rian.
Prince Regan said ruin. Lee Chen Hao said yen.
Aaron Simply Me said UERY.
Aaron Simply Me said query.
Aaron Simply Me said rue. Aaron Simply Me said rain.
Peanut 29 said rue.
Peanut 29 said rain.
Aaron Simply Me said rye.
It's right.
Yoga Pila said
Hey,
rue.
10 viewers na tayo. Oh, 10 viewers.
Lee Chen Hao said rye.
Prince Regan said rye. Yoga Pila said rye.
Thank you for tapping the screen. Maraming salamat po.
Aaron Simply Me said mundane.
Mundane. Check na natin. Mundane.
Prince Regan said end.
Let's see this.
Yoga Pila
mundane.
said name.
Yoga Pila said me. Aaron Simply Me said Tuesday.
Aaron Simply Me said Wednesday.
Aaron Simply Me
Tuesday,
said
Wednesday.
Thursday.
Aaron Simply Me said
Saturday.
Friday.
Prince Regan said named.
Aaron Simply Me said just kidding. Peanut 29 said made.
Yoga Pila said Dune.
Yoga Pila said dune. Aaron Simply Me said amend. Lee Chen Hao said made.
Lee Chen Hao, we are made.
Peanut 29 said mead.
Aaron Simply Me said sorry, that'll be my last joke.
Yoga Pila said menu. Aaron Simply Me said men. Lee Chen Hao said men.
Aaron Simply Me said made.
Yogapila said, menu.
Yogapila said, menu. Aaron Simply Me said, Deem.
Yeah.
Peanut 29 said, main.
Aaron Simply Me said, me.
Peanut 29 said, Dean.
Dean.
Yogapila said, Dean.
Yogapila said, Dean.
Mila 1 said, Dean.
Aaron Simply Me said, Dean.
Pag binubura.
Lee Chen Hao said, Reese.
Nope. Lee Chen Hao, nope. Ito yung kapag binubura.
Peanut 29 said, Racer.
Peanut eraser.
Prince Regan said, C.
Yogapila said, Areas. Lee Chen Hao said, Area.
Aaron Simply Me said, Eraser.
Lee Chen Hao said, R.
Aaron Simply Me said,
Saan ang letter A
Erase.
natin?
Peanut 29 said, Brace. Aaron Simply Me said, Seer.
Sa letter E, madali.
Peanut 29 said, C. Aaron Simply Me said, Area.
Pwede.
Aaron Simply Me said, C's.
Ear.
Aaron Simply Me said, Rare. Peanut 29 said, Era.
Aaron Simply Me said, Rear.
Ah, sorry.
Peanut 29 said, rear.
Yogapila said, rare.
Aaron Simply Me said, All ears. Yogapila said, Ear. Lee Chen Hao said, Needs. Aaron Simply Me said, Dens.
Yogapila said, needs.
Lee Chen Hao said, Ends.
Prince Regan said, Need.
Peanut 29 said, needs.
Yep, see.
Aaron Simply Me said, Dens. Aaron Simply Me said, Den.
Aaron Simply Me said, send.
Yogapila
It's a type
said,
of bird.
Seen.
When
Peanut 29
the
said,
bird
See.
dies, it rises again.
Prince Regan said, say D.
Prince Regan said, Send.
Next, nope.
Aaron Simply Me said, Phoenix.
Lee Chen Hao said, Phonics.
Yogapila said, phone.
Okay.
Aaron Simply Me said, phone.
Beyond. Hop.
Prince Regan said, Phoenix. Lee Chen Hao said, Phoenix.
Yogapila said, Phone.
Let's
Lee
go.
Chen Hao
Next
said,
word.
Fox.
Aaron Simply Me said, peon.
Yes, Pila.
Peanut 29 said, Hop.
Peanut 29 said, hip.
Peanut 29 said, Hen.
Yogapila said, expo.
Aaron Simply Me said, hope.
Aaron Simply Me said, Hone. Prince Regan said, Hen.
I know.
Peanut 29 said, 1.
Aaron Simply Me said, one.
When you
Peanut 29 said, 5.
another word for
Lee Chen Hao said, Ipe.
buksan.
Aaron Simply Me said, Oh then pen.
Yep, open. Okay, so last word.
Prince Regan said, Nope.
Nope.
Prince Regan said, Nope.
Last word.
Aaron Simply Me said pie. Lee Chen Hao said pie.
Prince Regan said pie.
Prince Regan said pie.
Cood 0 Shish 1N1NCH1 said pie.
Yogapila said 1.
Sandra Miller Hill, hello.
Yogapila said 1.
Lee Chen Hao said faculty. Coop 061 and 1 NCH1 said faculty.
Aaron Simply Me said teacher.
Yogapila said fault.
Peanut 29 said faculty.
Lee Chen Hao said fault. Yogapila said fault.
Peanut 29 said fault.
Peanut 29 said faulty.
Aaron Simply Me said fault.
Peanut 29 said flat.
Aaron Simply Me said play.
Sandra Miller Hill said faulty.
Peanut 29 said calf.
Aaron Simply Me said CU then LT.
Aaron Simply Me said flay.
Aaron Simply Me said cat.
Aaron Simply Me said lay.
Peanut 29 said fat.
Peanut 29 said lat.
Peanut 29 said cat.
Peanut 29 said fly.
Lee Chen Hao said lat.
Aaron Simply Me said F then Lou.
Lee Chen Hao said fay.
Peanut 29 said fly.
Lee Chen Hao said flay.
Next.
Aaron Simply Me said cut.
Starts with letter P.
The lucky one said act.
Peanut 29 said cut.
Booper, no.
Lee Chen Hao said booper.
Aaron Simply Me said rope.
Aaron Simply Me said rope.
Aaron Simply Me said rope.
Peanut 29 said probe.
Aaron Simply Me said pour.
Letter I. Sandra Miller here.
Aaron Simply Me said bore.
Sandra Miller Hill said pie.
Aaron Simply Me said per.
P.
Sandra Miller Hill said bow. Aaron Simply Me said rob.
Pre.
Aaron Simply Me said bro.
Peanut 29 said or.
Aaron Simply Me said pre.
Aaron Simply Me said or.
Okay, last 3 games kakain muna ako. Yep.
Jin said pro.
Peanut 29 said pro.
Aaron Simply Me said pro.
Sige, isipin.
Jan said sector.
Sector, coaster,
Aaron Simply Me said coster.
Jan said sec. Maynard said store.
Sandra Miller Hill said tour.
Jan said rose.
Jan said tour.
Jan said core.
Aaron Simply Me said cost. Aaron
Prince
Simply
Sagala,
Me
kapat
said
ng Muse.
sort.
Kapat ng Muse.
Maynard said, score. Aaron Simply Me said, rose. Aaron Simply Me said, tour.
Jan said, crest.
Starts with letter
Aaron
E.
Simply Me said,
Kapartner
crest.
ng muse.
Aaron Simply Me said, rest.
Aaron Simply Me said, set.
Aaron Simply Me said, S then chord. Aaron Simply Me said, filtered NMN po Cassie.
Aaron Simply Me said, road. Maynard said, soar. Aaron Simply Me said, core.
Meron ng core.
Aaron Simply Me said, toes.
Toes.
Aaron Simply Me said, rot.
Last word.
Aaron Simply Me said, toe.
Ay, ito. Ito yung sa Western films. Starts with letter C. If you're listening to, if you're watching Western films, yung may mga sombrero ng kakabayo.
Jan said, cowboys.
Jan said, boys.
Jan said, bow.
Sandra Miller Hill said, cowboys.
Jan said, bows. Jan said, cowboy.
Jan said, so.
Jan said, soy.
Jan said, sub.
Jan said, bow.
Tawag sa mga ano, baka. Baka. English ng baka. Ano ang English ng baka? Pati ba naman yung baka na filter?
Jan said, cows.
Jan said, cob. Jan said, bows. Stacy Jeer said, cows.
The lucky one said, bone line. The lucky one said, so. Jan said, lalaki.
Meron ng lalaki, boy.
Preeti Devi 581 said, bow. Stacy Jeer said, wow.
Jan said, bow. Preeti Devi 581 said, wow.
Stacy Jeer said, so.
So, meron na.
The lucky one said, see and out.
Trisha May said, so.
Okay, last game then. Nag-break muna ako kakain. Dapat pagkatapos itong game, break muna, okay? Ito, invisible.
Preeti Debbie 581 said, locked. Preeti Debbie 581 said, coal.
Preeti Debbie 581 said, cloak. The lucky one said, black. Jan said, locked.
Smoke
no one said
I'm
black.
going to take a break. Folks,
Smokin' Owen said, cola. Smokin' Owen said, oak. Jan said, oak.
Then, it's just 5 to 10 minutes. Don't worry, I'll be back. Just taking a break.
Preeti Debbie 581 said, to smokin', she is clever.
I'm going to take a break for a while.
Preeti Devi 581 said, okay.
Anyo Po YN.
Marty said, budget. Marty said, Iwalaji.
Marty said, dude.
Marty said, duet.
Marty said, do. Marty said, two.
Marty said, debut.
Marty said, bed. Marty said, debut.
Marty said, DUE.
Marty said, duet.
Marty said, B.
Aaron Simply Me said, duet.
Aaron Simply Me said, but.
Aaron Simply Me said, do B.
Marty said, tub. Aaron Simply Me said, tub.
Aaron Simply Me said, bed, bed.
PreetyW581 said, D.
Marty said, duck. Aaron Simply Me said, dead.
Preeti Devi 581 said, dude. Preeti Devi 581 said, duet.
Aaron Simply Me said, B.
Preeti Devi 581 said, Ruby.
Marty said, busy.
PreetyW581 said, sure.
Marty said, Rebs.
Marty said, fine.
Preeti Devi 581 said, Rubs.
Marty said, buyer.
Marty said, buyers. Preeti Devi 581 said, Barry. Marty said, user. Marty said, bias.
Preeti Devi 581 said, bang.
Preeti Devi 581 said, sang. Marty said, bangs.
Marty said, sang.
Marty said, abs.
Marty said, ads. Preeti Devi 581 said, bangs.
Marty said, sad.
Preeti Devi 581 said, band.
Marty said, and. The lucky one said, sandbag.
Preeti Devi 581 said, bag.
Marty said, bands. Marty said, sand.
Preeti Devi 581 said, bad.
Marty said, nag.
Preeti Devi 581 said, nag.
Marty said, gas.
Preeti Devi 581 said, gas.
Preeti Devi 581 said, band.
Marty said, sag.
Marty said, nab.
Preeti Devi 581 said, nab.
Preeti Devi 581 said, gab.
Marty said, Saadi. Marty said, Sab.
Preeti Devi 581 said, sad. Jan said, gas.
Meron na tayong word to gas. Yeah. Sige, wala. Alam ko na. Yan nagsisimula sa letter B.
Marty said, Gabi. The lucky one said, ban. Marty said, sad.
Meron lang sad.
Preeti Devi 581 said, nag.
Preeti Devi 581 said, bad.
Word bad.
Marty said, bad.
The letter D.
Marty said, dab.
Dab.
The lucky one said, dab.
The lucky one said, tiny.
Preeti Devi 581 said, time.
The lucky one said, die.
Preeti Devi 581 said, tin.
Marty said, time.
Marty said, night. Marty said, yet. Marty said, 10.
Jan said, entity.
Marty said, 10. Preeti Devi 581 said, net.
Preeti Devi 581 said, tent.
Marty said, tiet.
Preeti Devi 581 said, 10.
Marty said, tie.
Aaron Simply Me said, 10.
Preeti Devi 581 said, door. Aaron Simply Me said, doorway.
Jan said, doorway.
Preeti Devi 581 said, way.
Marty said, doorway.
Marty said, door. Aaron Simply Me said, door. Preeti Devi 581 said, yard. Marty said, way.
Marty said, board. Preeti Devi 581 said, wood.
Aaron Simply Me said, word. Preeti Devi 581 said, ray.
CML 4410 said, yard.
Marty said, war.
CML 4410 said, ward.
Last word.
Marty said, raw. Jan said, draw.
Aaron Simply Me said, raw.
CML 4410 said, raw. Aaron Simply Me said, rad raw.
Aaron Simply Me said, way.
Preeti Devi 581 said, ray.
Ito yung you need.
CML 4410 said, day.
Marty said, D-Rye.
Aaron Simply Me said, inform.
Preeti Devi 581 said, form.
Aaron Simply Me said, info.
Preeti Devi 581 said, firm. Marty said, inform.
Aaron Simply Me said, form.
CML 4410 said, ion.
Aaron Simply Me said, from.
Marty said, from. Preeti Devi 581 said, info. Marty said, then. Aaron Simply Me said, minor. Aaron Simply Me said, for Nor. Marty said, ion.
Aaron Simply Me said, racing.
Aaron Simply Me said, grain.
Racing.
Preeti Devi 581 said, game. Marty said, grain.
Preeti Devi 581 said, rain.
Yung ano?
Aaron Simply Me said, rain.
Isa pag...
Marty said, grin.
Letter C.
Preeti Devi 581 said, Garn.
Marty said, rain.
Aaron simply said, rain. Preeti Devi 581 said, rain.
Preeti Devi 581 said, ran.
Marty said, rain.
Aaron Simply Me said, rag rig.
Last word.
Preeti Devi 581 said, rang.
Preeti Devi 581 said, bark.
Aaron Simply Me said, G I then N.
Aaron Simply Me said, ran.
Aaron Simply Me said, car.
Preeti Devi 581 said, air.
Aaron Simply Me said, can.
Preeti Devi 581 said, can. Tina said, can.
Preeti Devi 581 said, ran.
Aaron Simply Me said, months.
Aaron Simply Me said, month.
Marty said, month.
Aaron Simply Me said, shot.
Marty said, sun. Aaron Simply Me said, moth.
Marty said, moths.
Aaron Simply Me said, post. Aaron Simply Me said, tons ton.
Aaron Simply Me said, sun. Aaron Simply Me said, not. Aaron Simply Me said, ho then TS. Aaron Simply Me said, ho then T.
Marty said, moth.
Marty got it right.
Marty said, most.
Aaron Simply Me said, most.
Show bubble.
Aaron Simply Me said, tickle.
Marty said, tick. Aaron Simply Me said, tick.
Aaron Simply Me said, tick.
Nice.
Aaron Simply Me said, lag.
Marty said, tie.
Aaron Simply Me said, lace.
Aaron Simply Me said, light.
Marty said, let.
Aaron Simply Me said, tile.
Aaron Simply Me said, kite.
Marty said, kite.
Marty said, tile. Marty said, lit. Aaron Simply Me said, Li then E.
Aaron Simply Me said, tie.
Marty said, light.
Aaron Simply Me said, kit.
Aaron Simply Me said, let lit.
Aaron Simply Me said, ice.
Last word.
Aaron Simply Me said,
That's right.
elk ilk.
Marty said, lie.
Aaron Simply Me said, sight.
Barty 16 said, sight.
Marty said, lee see.
Aaron Simply Me said, kite.
Nice. Meron na.
Marty said, see tay.
Marty said,
Light.
we see.
Okay, check natin.
Aaron Simply Me said, light.
You already have the word like.
Marty 16 said, like.
Antico.
Aaron Simply Me said, ti then co.
Aaron Simply Me said, Ti then CK.
Rick is the best friend.
Soft Fork One said, lice.
Aaron Simply Me said, Li then CK. Barty16 said, light.
Lagnat.
Marty said, Lee.
Aaron Simply Me said, fever. Marty said, fever.
Aaron Simply Me said, free. Marty said, ever.
Aaron Simply Me said, beer.
Marty said, free.
Aaron Simply Me said, ever.
Aaron Simply Me said, Eve. Marty said, reef.
Cartero.
Aaron Simply Me said,
Cartero.
fee. Marty said, fee. Aaron Simply Me said,
Hindi.
reef.
Hindi pala. Isa lang ano natin.
Aaron Simply Me said, mailman.
Ito. Natawag din sa kakaunti. Mahilig sa mga
Barty 16 said, minimal. Aaron Simply Me said, milk.
Marty said, mail.
Galing ni Barty.
Aaron Simply Me said, Maine.
Aaron Simply Me said, milk.
Marty said, mall. Aaron Simply Me said, lane.
Aaron Simply Me said, IL. Marty said, main. Marty said, aim.
Aaron Simply Me said, nail. Aaron Simply Me said, aim.
Meron ng nail, mail, minimal, mail, meron na rin yan.
Barty 16 said, aim.
Marty said,
Mail,
lion.
meron na.
Aaron Simply Me said, nail.
Tsaka isa lang letter L.
Barty 16 said, nail.
Marty said, main. Aaron Simply Me said, mill. Marty said, mon. Aaron Simply Me said,
Nice
land.
one.
Marty said, Mael.
Aaron Simply Me said, mini.
Marty 16 said, mini. Marty said, I am. Marty said, I am.
Tao. Tao yan, tao.
Aaron Simply Me said, Lynn.
Tao. Tao siya, tao.
Aaron Simply Me said, MQN. Aaron Simply Me said, min.
Barty 16 said, land. Aaron Simply Me said, MA then N.
Aaron Simply Me said, lamb.
The lucky one said, MNAN. Marty said, HLA. Aaron Simply Me said, filtered NNMN polyyun.
Filter siya.
Barty 16 said, happens.
Happens. Barty. Happens.
Marty said, shape. Aaron Simply Me said, happens.
Aaron Simply Me said, happen. Aaron Simply Me said, shape.
Barty16 said, happen. Marty said, Nate.
Aaron Simply Me said, he then AP.
Aaron Simply Me said, pens.
Barty16 said, span.
Aaron Simply Me said, pen.
Marty said, napes. Aaron Simply Me said, pans pan.
Marty said, Shen.
Aaron Simply Me said, shape.
Aaron Simply Me said, peace pea. Marty said, apes.
Barty16 said, pans. Marty said, geese.
Aaron Simply Me said, phase.
Barty16 said, has.
Aaron Simply Me said, hang.
Marty said, hang.
Aaron Simply Me said, apthenss.
Aaron Simply Me said, AP then E.
Marty said, apps.
Aaron Simply Me said, sane. Marty said, pain.
Tap the screen, share. Send it.
Barty16 said, heap.
Okay, if you want to extend the game, send lang kayo ng
Aaron Simply Me said, SN then AP.
galing talaga ni Erin. Ito, Clorox, Sonbrox.
Marty said, I filter.
Aaron Simply Me said, bleach. Barty16 said, bleach.
Marty said, bleach.
Aaron Simply Me said, beach.
Marty said, beach.
Aaron Simply Me said, leash.
Marty said, each. Aaron Simply Me said, egg.
Aaron Simply Me said, each.
Aaron Simply Me said, heel.
Marty said, lab. Aaron Simply Me said, hail.
Marty said, cab.
Aaron Simply Me said, lace.
Aaron Simply Me said, cable.
Aaron Simply Me said, cab.
Aaron Simply Me said, able. Aaron Simply Me said, a sale.
Thank you sa mga likes. Thank you po. Tap the screen if you want to extend the game. Thank you very much. Salamat po sa mga nanonood, sa 3 viewers natin.
Marty said, Meg and NCYA.
Yep, again, share. Tap lang kayo yung screen para mag-extend yung time. Tap, share, or send kayo ng mga gifts.
Aaron Simply Me thanks for the rose.
Simply Me thanks.
Marty said, down.
He said, down.
Aaron simply me said, and down.
He said, oh. Marty said, do.
Arian, thank you for that. Thank you. Nag-extend na 20 minutes.
Marty said, done.
Marty said, new. Marty said, Owen.
Marty said, oh.
Marty said, wet.
So guys, tayo extend tayo for 22 minutes. Yeah.
Marty said, own.
Marty said, we D.
Marty said, no duh.
Maria Vlog said, one.
Marty said, OEN.
Marty said, "Aye."
Maria Faye Vlog said 1.
Maria Faye Vlog, welcome.
Marty said, "Owen."
Marty said, own. Yay Pogsuyon said, ode.
Hello, Yeye. Pogsuyon. Welcome back.
Yay Pogsuyon said, nod.
Aaron Simply Me said, "New."
Maria Faye Vlog said, no.
Aaron Simply Me said, nod.
Yay Pogsuyon said, den. Aaron Simply Me said, den don.
Maria Faye Vlog said, Don.
Marty said, "Do."
Yay Pogsuyon said, 1.
Ito yung nanalo. Nanalo.
Aaron Simply Me
After
said,
manalo.
whoa, then E.
After manalo.
Aaron Simply Me said, 1N.
Marty said,
Nanalo.
WN.
Ito ang sinanalo.
Marty said,
Siyang
Isa.
nanalo.
Aaron Simply Me said, wed.
Yay Pogsuyon said, wet. Maria Faye Vlog said, 1.
Smokin' Owen said, "Whoa." Yay Pogsuyon said, "When."
Marty said, whoa in.
Aaron Simply Me said, 1.
Keyhole.
Smokin' Owen said, keyhole. Smokin' Owen said, full.
Marty said, "Hello."
Smokin' Owen said, key.
Smokin' Owen said, "Hey." Smokin' Owen said, heel.
Smoke and Owen said, keel.
Maria Faye Vlog said, pole. Smoke and Owen said, leak.
Marty said, key.
Marty said, poke.
Smoke and Owen said, I.
Maria Faye Vlog said, lie.
Smoke and Owen said, elk.
Last word.
Smoke and Owen said, heel.
Maria Faye Vlog said, holy.
Smoke and Owen said, holy.
Smoke and Owen said, stepped. Maria Faye Vlog said, sheep.
Smoke and Owen said, step. Maria Faye Vlog said, pest. Smoke and Owen said, pest. Marty said, deepest. Smoke and Owen said, pets.
Smoke and Owen said, deep.
Smoke and Owen said, seed.
Smoke and Owen said, tea.
Maria Faye Vlog said, speed.
Marty said, pest.
Marty said, tea.
Marty said, pet.
Maria Faye Vlog said, seed.
Last word.
Smoke and Owen said, steep.
Marty said, esser.
Smoke and Owen said, seat.
Marty said, see. Marty said, set.
Marty said, seep. Smoke and Owen said, seep.
Marty said, teep.
Nope. Not teep.
Marty said, peep.
It is peep.
Smoke and Owen said, peep.
Smoke and Owen said, skins.
Smoke and Owen said, skin.
Marty said, sinks.
Smoke and Owen said, sink.
Marty said, sink.
Smoke and Owen said, ink.
Smoke and Owen said, sin.
Last word.
Lionheart said, skin.
Smoke and Owen said, kiss.
Marty said, see. Smoke and Owen said, kin. Smoke and Owen said, hockey.
Smoke and Owen said, ski. Marty said, sit.
Marty said, kin. Smoke and Owen said, economy.
Welcome, nice.
Smoke and Owen said, money. Marty said, money.
Smoke and Owen said, cone.
Smoke and Owen said, come.
Lionheart said, economy.
Marty said, move.
Smoke and Owen said, omen. Marty said, moon.
Nancy Matterang said, moon. Smoke and Owen said 1.
Marty said gone.
Nancy Matarang said 1. Whimsical Jean said holla.
Smoke and Owen said once.
Nancy Matarang said once.
Nancy Matarang said flush.
Smoke and Owen said shuffle.
Smoke and Owen said fuel.
Lionheart said shuffle. Smoke and Owen said she.
Marty said shuffle.
Smoke and Owen said bluey.
Nancy Matarang said shell.
Smoke and Owen said FLU.
Marty said fuse.
Nancy Matarang said flesh.
Aaron Simply Me said shelf.
Marty said sue.
Marty said use. Aaron Simply Me said fuel.
Aaron Simply Me said self. Aaron Simply Me said hue. Smoke and Owen said self.
Smoke and Owen said LF.
Aaron Simply Me said L then F. Aaron Simply Me said turns.
Nancy Matarang said turns.
Smoke and Owen said runts. Aaron Simply Me said turn. Nancy Matarang said run. Smoke and Owen said street un. Nancy Matarang said drums.
Smoke and Owen said rust.
Marty said runs.
Aaron Simply Me said Rue then tea.
Marty said nut. Aaron Simply Me said Rue then NT.
Aaron Simply Me said nut.
Mary Alivanag Basar said sun. Smoke and Owen said sun. Smoke and Owen said router.
Smoke and Owen said root.
Smoke and Owen said tour.
Nancy Matarang said root.
Nancy Matarang said tour.
Nancy Matarang said true. Smoke and Owen said R.
Smoke and Owen said air.
Okay, tap the
Smoke and
screen
Owen
guys,
said
share.
Aaron Simply Me said tour. Marty said out.
Smoke and Owen said truer.
Smoke and Owen said retro. Nancy Matarang said euro.
Aaron Simply Me said rotor. Owen said toe.
Marty said toe. Marty said Rhea.
Thank you for playing and supporting the live stream by following, sharing gifts and tapping the screen. We are going to end our live now. Thank you very much. Laban Lang. Aaron Simply Me said row.
Marty said toe.
WWW Time's Up.
Sulitin natin, ito na ang wakas. Kailangan na yata natin umuwi.
Hawakan mo aking kamay bago tayo maghiwalay. Lahat-lahat